And we're live. Welcome, my friends. Welcome. It's been a long time. Um, as you can see, I just put up a new logo there. Hopefully, it'll be the start of things to come. Some changes on the channel and some things up to date. Uh, as you can tell, I'm your wonderful host, Mike. For those who know me, those that don't know me, hope you get to know me. This the old saying goes: "To know me is to love me." At least I hope that's the way it is. Anyway, let's just see and play with the lighting. Um, Another week. So I'm attempting to insert some sort of black so you don't see the back of my business here. Everything else going on. That's almost covered up. Not everything, but it's my attempt to put a green screen up at one point in time. It's not successful 100% yet, but it's a work in progress like everything else in my life is. I am work. We're all works in progress. The longer we live, we realize the fact that we have more things to do. Goes without saying. I guess I'm not any different than anyone else. So anyway, what do I want to talk about? What do I want to talk about today? Okay, what I want to talk about today. Well, we're talking about memories. We're talking about changes. We're talking about what ifs and should nots and could nots. Let's talk about something a little bit more forward thinking. Okay, sure we can't change our past, but we can sort of understand and reflect upon it and learn from it. And this is what I'm hoping to impart today in my own personal life. So let's just have an object lesson here, okay? We're going to be talking about, I need to be a better person. I think we all, in some point in time, in some way, need to be better people. That we all hopefully attempt to aspire to be better people, to be kinder and gentler and be more loving and caring to our friends and family we care about, to right the wrongs we did in our past as much as we can to make amends for. Hopefully, most of us aspire to. That's an aspirational goal more than anything else. To be better people in the world around us and leave some sort of positive mark in our world that we can, when we're finally out the door, we know that we've done something that's made a difference. That we have arrived, and our past our past passing means something to someone, that we've left a mark. So having on that note, okay, this is what this channel was for me supposed to be. This channel means be. I can't make up all the things I've done in the past, and quite frankly, I don't think I would want to do so. It would be too hard to right all the wrongs in my life, to undo all the undoable things I wish I could undo. To change that past is difficult. Many of us spend a lot of time thinking about it. I know I'm included in that. I a lot of times think about things in the past. I get reminders of that through little notes and things I read and things I think about and all that. They think about things in the past, think about, reflect and nostalgize, and attempt to make sense of them and justify sometimes why you did things the way you did them. But what it comes down to is none of that ever changes anything. The only thing you can change is not the past, but how you react to it. How you let the past events affect you in terms of how you carry about your life today. So, on that note, I'm going to work towards that. That's my personal goal. I think it's a personal goal that everyone should have if they really want to make a better person themselves, and not do it for any other purpose other than you to be the satisfaction of knowing that you've done the best you possibly can do. So on that note, as far as that goes, this is what I'm doing. My intention to do is to become more of a better host, to be more consistent in my content and be more consistent in delivery. Working around all the conflicts and crises in life that sometimes you have to, like, you're living in a house, the complexity of living with other people and having to work with genders. And also the complexities of life itself, like as you're getting older and your health becomes less and less acute and you're not able to have the forwardness of the energy and strength and stamina and time that you had once had so much of when we were younger. So, needless to say, I need to work on me, like we all have to work on ourselves. And that's my personal sort of a catharsis that came out of it. Also, I need to work on my relationship, like I always have with others, people in our lives, other people we deal with, our expectations of what we expect from these people in terms of what they can and can't do for us when they want to work on the. People generally want to help others if they can, but you have to understand that the fact is you can't just you can't expect them, you can't bribe people into helping you. You can't coerce people into helping you. You can't blackmail people into helping you. Ultimately, if they do it, they do it because they want to, not because you want them to. So no matter how many things you do or say or think or even hold against them in terms of blackmail against them, ultimately people will do things when they want to do them, when they want to do them, when they have the time to do them. So that's something that I've had to come to terms with. I think it's something a lot of us need to come to terms with. So having said all these things about that, and I can't worry about that, so let's just get on the journey of what this channel was about originally. What the whole purpose of me starting this channel in the first place was. This place is to talk about observations about life, what's happening now, what's happening in the world now. I mean, without getting necessarily too controversial to some degree, but at the same time pointing out things I see and letting everyone decide for themselves just exactly how they want to deal with them, how they want to manage them, how they want to incorporate the ideas I have into them, whether they want to just discard them entirely because they don't believe them, whether they see that maybe I'm not totally that I'm part of the right track, but maybe I'm not on the right track, that maybe something has some relevancy to them or not, and I don't have all the answers. I'm not an expert in anything other than being able to say what I think and feel about things from my own point of view. I'm not like there's a lot of channels out there that have opinions about things in life. They pick specific topics in life, whether it be popular culture, whether it be the social things that happen in the social society. People have in entertainment. People have they picked a. I'm not going to attempt to cover all that ground. It's not worth it. There's too many other people doing those types of things for me to waste my time doing it. That there's people out there that are better performing at it, they're better researched at it, they've got staffs of people, they got a lot more resources than me, so I'm not going to waste my time doing things like that. And quite frankly, if you want those types of topics, there's other people that are much better than I could possibly ever be, no matter how much I may know about something, to give you information about those things. And quite frankly, I'm not going to be that person. So if you're here for those things, please don't waste your time, move on to something else, because I'm not going to give you those answers. What I'm going to give you is a personal opinion about things. Like, from my point of view, like, I'm a Canadian, so obviously I've got a bias there. I live in the country, I live in the capital city. So, of course, my framing of how I see things are going to be based on my particular location where I am and my postal nationality and my upbringing and all these things. So, what's been happening lately? What's been happening in my world? Well, what's been happening in my world lately is that, like everything, we're coming to the age and time in our life, you start to look back at your past and present accomplishments. What have I done? What do I want to do? What sort of mark I want to leave in the world? This channel is an attempt to be one of those things where I can impart a little bit of knowledge and wisdom about my past and my life to others out there, so they can learn a little about things and not have to fall in some of the traps that I had. I mean, let's face it. If I wish, like, I'm being kind of the father to you out there that I felt myself not having as I grew up and having to discover things on my own, discover how the world worked, and fall into a lot of pitfalls. So let me be your guide to the journey of growing up and maturing in the world and benefit from my personal experience. Lots changed. Technology has changed. I just had another conversation with my brother Kevin talking about how things have changed in the world compared to when we were growing up, and how the fact that a lot of these changes people don't realize are really changes because they didn't exist when there were anything. They don't know any other way. Like, for example, many of the current generation never lived a world without plastic, or the things that it's made from plastic. They take it for granted, and a lot of people say, well, let's get rid of oil. Well, get rid of oil, and you'll watch how fast your whole world will fall apart, because you don't realize just how many things are either made from or derived from that nasty stuff coming out of the ground. Most of your existence is based on oil. From the clothes you wear, to the house you live in, to the pharmacies, to the food you eat, everything that's important to you that makes modern civilization work has oil in it somewhere along the line in some process. whether it's making plastics or other products, whether it's just the transportation of those products, whether it's the home heating and the heating of the people that made those products possible. Everywhere around you see oil. It's not going away. And for those who think it is, get off your ass. Because you're stupid to think that. You're naive and stupid. Don't let people out there tell you that, oh, if we stopped exploring oil, we stop putting oil on the ground, we start using oil, the world's going to be a much fabulous, beautiful place. They've lied to you. They've totally, completely snowed you. They snowed you in the fact that you don't look and realize that you don't. Where do you think plastic comes from? Majority of things, plastic is a derivative of oil. And until we can find a way of making oil from something else without involving oil in the process of making it, whether it be burning of old derivatives like coal and fossil fuels, and using the sun, which of course obviously the big problem with making the sun. People, we get solar energy. Well, I get some bad news for you. It takes a massive amount of coal to take that silicon dioxide, or like the crystals, silicon crystals, to process them into a solar panel. And even the lifespan typically is 10 years, and that's assuming the panels don't get damaged. And the problem is the panels are only efficient at pointing at the sun, and you need large tracts of land to do it, or large space to do that. And the large tracts of land to do it are taking away from agriculture and taking away from land that can be used for animals and other habitat, for homes, everything like that. And there is trade-offs. I'm going to tell you a little story. What was the original, what do you believe is the original solar cell? The original solar cell was a thing called trees and plants. Trees and plants have been doing exactly what solar cells do, using nature for generations long before we could even come up with the idea of inventing these types of things. Passive heat sources have existed long before that, like a pipe with water flowing through. When you heat the water in the sun generates heat. To take the heat, you take the heat, you use it in some form, whether it passively or actively, drive a turbine. Drive the turbine, it creates energy. What do you think a nuclear power plant is? A nuclear power plant is basically an energy source being converted into another energy source. In this case, radiation causing water to boil. Boil causes steam. Steam drives a turbine, and the turbine generates electrical current through its wires. Da-da. Instant. And you got people complaining about nuclear power without understanding the implications that it's a lot cleaner than using coal to do the same thing. And hydroelectric power, great, but there's only a few places in the world you can create hydroelectric power, and hydroelectric power, there's only a few natural places that, and there's consequences to damming the wells to do that, in terms of the habitat. Fish that go over that fall now go through turbines and get killed every year because we're damming up these things to carry electricity. So we don't think a windmill. You used to go windmill. Well, modern windmills tend to kill birds that land into them, and are massively expensive to fix and only last a certain amount of time. And so every time we think that solutions are simplistic as that, we can escape having to deal with the consequences of the actions of our requirements for energy, our requirements for products, the requirements for all these things. We don't think there's consequences down the road for that. I mean, one time we made our clothes out of animals. I mean, least that thing was that when you made clothes out of animals, we ate the animals. The animals were processed, and all the products, from the bones to everything else, were used for some purpose in society. So animals don't die in vain. In the society, the primitive societies that we had before, the ones we call primitive, before the modern industrial era, when things were done by hand and everyone had to literally do it themselves, where animals were killed, there were very few vegetarians, because you had to live on what you had. And even if you wanted to be a vegetarian, you still had to have either humans or animals to make the machines to grow these plants. And you still need animals to produce the fertilizers to produce the plants. And they've proven over time that there's certain things you can't make that are not well made from plants without the technology we have now, without using animals. So before you blame society, saying, that human beings were cruel for killing animals, blame modern society for that. Modern society, the sort of industrialization, the sort of the urban society and the sort of commercialization of society, yes, it has led to more animals dying. More, because it's more efficient to kill them now than ever before, and most people don't kill them themselves. They let the factory machines kill them like we all do, and eat the products, not thinking about where they came from. many of us probably couldn't kill an actual animal if it came down to it for food. We would probably have to eat plants. But I always say to people, what about plants? Do you think plants, just because they don't have a mouth, don't feel pain? That you're still eating life. Life is eating life, whether it be a plant or an animal. The only difference is the plants don't typically move around. They don't have legs, and they don't exist. They're just a different form of life. But human beings, we live in what's called the circle of life. Things eat other things, whether it be plants eating other plants, or plants being eaten by animals, or animals eating other animals. Those things happen. It's not like they're not there extinct. I mean, it's nothing personal. When I eat a nice juicy steak, it's not that I hate the beef that it came from. I don't know the cow. And frankly, if I didn't know the cow, would I be willing to eat him? I don't know. Maybe not. So we get caught up in all this minutia about all this stuff about things. You do you. I have nothing against people that are vegetarians. I don't know what they have against me. They have the right to make the choice to live the way they do. Varmus had the right to live the way they do. Greta Thunberg has the right to her own opinions. It doesn't necessarily mean they're right. It doesn't mean that they're totally wrong either. It's just, you gotta look at it. All of us have our own personal biases. We all base our opinions on what we know, or in this case, sometimes worse, what we think we know. Which means our opinions change. As we become more knowledgeable about things and we become less ignorant about certain topics, our opinions will change. And my opinions have changed on many things over time compared to what they used to be. And this is what I'm here for. I'm here to give you information. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not your boss. I'm not the ultimate authority on anything. I'm just going to tell you the way things are, the way I see them. And it's up to you. Use it if you're on and make up, as I always say, make up your own mind about everything. Because ultimately, once you start giving up the right to make up your own mind, and once you give up the right to have the change of heart sometimes, and once you give up the right to think for yourself, once you give all that up, then we're going to have a problem. Then we definitely have a problem once that happens. So, as I always say, think for yourself. Don't let anyone ever tell you how to think. But always be open to new ideas. Always be open to new information. Don't be closed off to anything. I attempt not to be myself. I'm not perfect. I have to evolve sometimes when I do find things that I thought I knew that I don't really know, or I didn't know the whole story. I didn't know all the facts. So what I attempt to do in this channel is just provide things in how from I see them, and give you some knowledge about the world and life and the way things go on, and always question everything. Don't be a lemming and follow along just because someone says something is true. And this goes for everything in life, including the people that claim to be authorities. There's a lot of people out there claim to be authorities, who are not really authorities at all. They have their own personal agendas. So here's the problem. A lot of people will say, if you say, a certain person said something and we don't agree with it, other people will say, that's a conspiracy theory. Well, I'm not peddlers on conspiracy theories. I don't believe in the whole concept of conspiracy, because the fact is conspiracy theories means a way of marginalizing unfortunate knowledge about something that may or may not be true, or may be perceived as not being true from a certain people because other people have an agenda. I don't want to profess into that. That's not what I'm here for. What I'm here for is to give you information based on my point of view, and you can sort out what you think is a conspiracy theory or not. Do your own research. Do the research that has to be done in order to make things work in this world. You are the next generation, you're the inheritors of this earth. I hope it's still here for you, and I hope it's a place that can provide you sustenance in life and opportunities, in spite of all the people that may be attempting to change it because of their own agendas. You have the power to take that back and create the world that you want to live in. And a world that I hope that you're proud of, that you can be proud of, that it stands for something that you can make it work for you and make it work for all your generations around you. So anyway, what I want to talk about is I want to keep talking about the same things. I want to start building an audience. If you want to talk about things and you have topic ideas that you want me to discuss about, or you want to come on my channel and have a discussion with me, we can certainly do that. Like I said, it's, just email me at info@endtimemediagroup.ca, and I will be more than happy to read your letters and comments, or you can comment on the videos here on the channel, whether it be on YouTube or it be on Rumble or on Locals or any of the other platforms. I am expanding the platforms. I'm hoping to find a bigger audience, hoping to find a bigger reach as I build the audience. Like it's like the field of greens. As you build, they'll come. Well, if I build it, I hope they come. And I'm not necessarily looking to build a big famous channel where I've got lots of people watching it just because I want to be famous. I want people to come here because they think that I have something valuable to say to them, and that I have something valuable to offer to the world in terms of a dialogue about things that go on. Anyway, so that's this for this week. Like I said, I probably didn't tell you a lot of things new, and I hope to be a little bit more original in the future. So I'm going to be out there. Anyway, I'm Mike, and it's my tune Loonies worth. Take care. Have a good weekend. Bye for now.